Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where you give and give and give, pouring all of your energy and understanding into someone else, only to feel completely empty, drained, and even used in return? It's a gut-wrenching feeling, isn't it? Maybe you're that incredibly understanding person everyone turns to, always there to lend an ear, offer a shoulder, or jump in to solve problems for others. But deep down, beneath that outwardly helpful nature, you carry a secret burden, a sense of being lost, unheard, and perpetually unappreciated. What if that very quality you possess, that deep capacity for empathy, which you've always seen as your greatest strength, is actually putting you in a dangerous position? What if, without realizing it, your empathy is making you vulnerable to being exploited in ways you never imagined? Today we're going to pull back the curtain and explore how being an empath, especially without truly understanding yourself and setting clear boundaries, can lead to some serious, self-destructive problems in your most important relationships. And most importantly, we'll talk about what you can do to change it and reclaim your power. When being kind can hurt you, you might genuinely believe that being a super empathetic guy, someone who feels deeply and cares intensely, is always and only a good thing, right? You're probably the person everyone describes as loyal to a fault, incredibly generous with your time and resources, and always ready to listen without judgment. You pride yourself on understanding others, on seeing their pain and wanting to ease their burdens. But here's the surprising and frankly brutal truth that many empaths never realize. These very qualities, when unchecked and unbalanced, can ironically make you the easiest man for others to take advantage of, the easiest man to use, and even the easiest man to unintentionally harm. It's a difficult pill to swallow because it goes against everything you've been taught about kindness and compassion. You see, you might find yourself in a constant loop of understanding and forgiving, extending endless patience and second chances, even when you are consistently treated poorly, disrespected, or outright neglected. You might make excuses for bad behavior, or bend over backward to accommodate someone who rarely, if ever, makes an effort for you. It's as if your natural inclination to understand blinds you to the reality of how you're being treated, making it incredibly difficult to stand up for yourself or even recognize that you're being taken for granted. You become a doormat, not out of weakness but out of an overabundance of empathy that lacks discernment. Think of it this way. It's like you're an emotional sponge, constantly soaking up everyone else's feelings, their anxieties, their problems, their chaos, and their emotional baggage. You absorb it all, often taking it on as if it were your own. You become the container for their negativity, their anger, their sadness, and their instability. And while you're busy holding all of their discomfort, you're left with no room, no energy, and no focus for your own well-being, your own emotions, or your own needs. You become so full of others' turmoil that you start to feel heavy, bogged down, and utterly exhausted, with your own inner world neglected and unaddressed. And here's an even deeper, more uncomfortable truth to consider. Instead of true healthy compassion, you might actually, on a subconscious level, be seeking out or craving chaos and suffering in your relationships. Why? Because it feels strangely familiar to you. It's a role you know, a pattern you've lived before, perhaps from childhood experiences. You slip into the familiar role of caretaker, the rescuer, the problem solver, or even the martyr. You become the person who is always needed, always fixing things, always swooping in to save the day. This isn't necessarily true selfless compassion. It's often a deeply ingrained pattern, a trauma, wearing a noble mask that allows you to feel a sense of purpose or worth by constantly tending to someone else's wounds, rather than confronting your own. Ultimately, this cycle isn't truly about helping her, or anyone else for that matter. In many cases, it's about avoiding the painful, difficult work of looking inward and confronting your own unresolved issues. By intensely focusing on her problems, her drama, or her needs, you skillfully deflect attention away from your own unhealed past, your own insecurities, your own fears, and your own emotional wounds. It's a subconscious strategy to prevent you from having to face yourself. You become completely consumed by fixing someone else's life, believing that if you can just save them, then perhaps you won't have to face the daunting task of saving, healing, or truly knowing yourself. The secret tests women give you. Now let's dive into something a bit more challenging to hear, but incredibly important to understand about how women might unconsciously act in relationships, especially with empathetic men. Here's the eye-opening truth. Women are often testing you, even if they're not consciously aware they're doing it. These aren't always big, dramatic moments. Sometimes they're subtle, almost instinctive probes to see what kind of man you really are beneath the surface. It's a natural biological impulse to gauge a man's strength, his consistency, and his ability to hold his own. At a core level, women need to know if you can stand strong when things get tough, and if you truly have boundaries. They want to see if you can be easily controlled, swayed, or manipulated. This isn't about being mean or manipulative on their part. It's an ancient primal need for security and stability. They need to sense if you possess an inner frame, a solid, unchanging core of self-respect and clear limits. They're looking for signs that you have a backbone, that you're not just a leaf blowing in the wind, easily pushed around by their emotions or demands. Your ability to maintain your own sense of self, even amidst their emotional storms, is a crucial signal. So how do these tests show up? They might test you in various subtle ways, often without even realizing it. This could involve pushing your buttons just a little bit, or seeing how you react when they don't immediately respond to you. They might observe if you chase them when they pull away, if you explain yourself too much when you've done nothing wrong, if you apologize profusely for things that aren't your fault, or if you simply collapse and give in every time there's a disagreement. These reactions, born from a desire to please or avoid conflict, unfortunately send a clear message that you lack a strong inner core and are easily swayed. And here's the tough part. When you consistently fail these tests by acting weak, desperate, overly accommodating, or lacking a clear sense of self, her natural instincts will begin to signal that you're not the one. It's not necessarily a conscious thought like, "Oh, he failed my test." Instead, it's a deeper, gut-level feeling of discomfort or a lack of respect that develops. This can lead to her losing attraction, becoming distant, or even, strangely, treating you worse, because your lack of boundaries has shown her that she can get away with it. You're inadvertently teaching her how to treat you. It's crucial to understand this. It's not that she doesn't appreciate your kindness or your empathetic nature. In fact, those qualities might be what initially drew her to you. But what women truly do not respect is what we call emotional labor that has no backbone. Meaning she doesn't value endless empathy or understanding if it comes from a place of self-abandonment. She's not looking for a man who is merely an emotional sponge for her chaos. Instead, what truly earns her respect is your capacity to feel deeply, to truly understand, while simultaneously having the strength and courage to stand firm in what you feel without abandoning yourself. She wants a man who can be present with emotions, but who isn't consumed or controlled by them. A man who can maintain his integrity and his boundaries no matter what. Your hidden wounds and how they play out. Now let's dive into an even deeper, often uncomfortable truth. Did you know that your own past experiences, your unresolved hurts, and the hidden feelings tucked away deep inside you can secretly control your relationships without you even realizing it? Carl Jung, that brilliant thinker we mentioned, had a profound insight that speaks directly to this. He warned that what you don't make conscious will control you, and you'll call it fate. This means if you don't bring your hidden baggage out into the light, it will pull the strings of your life, and you'll just wonder why the same bad things keep happening to you, calling it bad luck or destiny. Sometimes, what feels like falling head over heels for a woman isn't truly about her at all. Instead, on a subconscious level, you're projecting your own unconscious wounds onto her. Think of it like this. You're not actually seeing her clearly. You're seeing a movie of your own inner problems playing out on her. You might see her as someone who needs saving, because deep down you feel like you need to be saved. You might see her as broken, because a part of you feels broken. By focusing intensely on her struggles and trying to fix them, you're really trying to fix parts of yourself that you haven't faced yet. It's a powerful but often misguided way your mind tries to deal with its own pain. This can connect to very specific past experiences, like what Jung called an unhealed mother wound. This isn't about blaming your mum, but about how your earliest experiences of love and care shaped your beliefs. If as a child you felt you had to earn love through sacrifice, through being good or solving problems, then as an adult you might carry that same belief into your relationships. You might subconsciously believe that love must be earned through constant giving, through putting someone else's needs above your own, or even through enduring hardship. This makes you vulnerable to relationships where you constantly overgive and expect little in return, because that's what feels like love to your wounded inner child. And when we talk about your hidden problems, we're really talking about your shadow. Jung's concept of the shadow refers to all the parts of yourself that you deny, suppress or hide away. The parts you don't want to admit are there, like your anger, your selfishness, your fears, or your need for control. Here's where it gets complicated. When your unacknowledged shadow parts meet her unacknowledged shadow parts, it can create a perfect storm in the relationship. You might both unconsciously trigger each other's deepest insecurities, leading to arguments, misunderstanding, and a cycle of pain. This isn't just two people interacting, it's two complex hidden inner worlds colliding, often with destructive results. Jung also spoke about something called anima possession, or anima inflation. This is a complex idea, but simply put, every man has an inner feminine side, the anima, which holds his capacity for emotion, intuition, and connection. When this inner feminine isn't healthy or integrated, meaning it hasn't found a healthy balance with his masculine side, it can hijack his identity. This might show up as being overly emotional, too easily influenced by others' feelings, constantly overgiving, or being over-understanding to the point of weakness. You might find yourself being overly reactive, moody or self-doubting, or becoming emotionally porous, meaning you have no emotional skin and just let every feeling, every comment, every problem from others seep right into you, overwhelming you. It's like your internal emotional compass is broken, leaving you lost in a sea of feelings that aren't even yours. So, with all these complex ideas about hidden wounds and unconscious tests, what's the real solution? How do you break free from this cycle where your empathy feels like a burden and you constantly feel used? It all comes down to one absolutely crucial concept: boundaries. This is where you reclaim your power and begin to heal. Think of boundaries not as walls to keep people out, but as invisible lines that protect you, your energy, your time, your emotions, and your self-worth. They are the clear limits you set on what you will and will not accept from others. And here's a powerful truth to remember. Empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. If you're constantly feeling someone else's pain so deeply that you forget your own needs, or if you're always saying yes when you desperately want to say no, you're quite literally destroying your own well-being. Your empathy, which should be a gift that allows you to connect meaningfully with others, becomes a weapon you unintentionally use against yourself. You might unknowingly confuse being incredibly tolerant and endlessly patient with being a good person, a virtuous person. But in reality, this can be incredibly damaging, because you're actually sabotaging yourself and allowing others to take advantage. You might think, if I just understand them enough, if I'm kind enough, they'll eventually see my worth and treat me better. But often the opposite happens. Your lack of boundaries teaches others that it's okay to disrespect your time, your feelings, or your needs. It's perfectly okay to say no, to walk away from what doesn't serve you, and to protect your peace. In fact, it's absolutely essential for your mental and emotional health. This next part is a profound realization that can truly change everything for you. Many empaths believe they are endlessly sacrificing themselves for the sake of others, that they are bravely saving someone. But the brutal truth is often this: you were never saving her, you were sacrificing yourself to avoid saving you. Let that sink in. Your intense focus on someone else's problems was a clever subconscious way to avoid facing your own unaddressed pain, your own need for healing, and your own journey of self-discovery. It's a painful realization, but also an incredibly liberating one. Once you grasp this, you can shift your focus from constantly trying to fix others to finally, bravely, starting to fix yourself. So the path forward is clear. It's time to start setting clear, firm boundaries. When you clearly define what you will and will not accept, you are sending a powerful message, not just to others, but most importantly, to yourself. You are telling yourself that you are worthy of respect, that your feelings matter, and that your well-being is a priority. And here's the magic. When you start to value yourself and set these boundaries, others will naturally begin to value you too. They will sense your newfound strength and self-respect, and they will adjust their behavior accordingly.
It's a challenging journey, but one that leads to true peace, healthier relationships, and the powerful reclamation of your own unique self. Reclaiming your sovereignty. You've come on an incredible journey with us today, exploring some really deep truths about empathy and relationships. You've learned that while being an empath is an extraordinary gift, a superpower really, it can, without self-awareness and strong boundaries, actually become a curse that leads to self-destruction. We talked about how you might unconsciously seek out chaos, or play the savior to avoid your own pain, how women might instinctively test your boundaries, and how your own hidden wounds from the past can secretly control the present dynamics of your relationships. That's a lot to take in, but it's all vital for your growth. But here's the truly powerful part. The good news is, you absolutely can change this cycle. This isn't about blaming anyone, it's about empowerment. By bravely facing your own hidden shadow, those parts of yourself you've denied, and by understanding your inner world, you gain incredible strength. Learning to set and hold firm boundaries is your superpower in action. It means you can stop being a container or a ghost of yourself, constantly holding on to other people's chaos and losing your own identity in the process. Instead, you can learn to become emotionally anchored. Imagine a ship that no longer drifts aimlessly in the storm, but is firmly rooted and stable. That's you. When you're emotionally anchored, you'll understand your own feelings, stand firm in your truth, and choose who gets to feel your depth. This shift means you move from sacrificing yourself for others to prioritizing your own well-being. And when you do this, something amazing happens. You start to attract relationships where you are genuinely respected and truly valued for who you are, not for how much you sacrifice. This isn't just about feeling better. This is how you reclaim your sovereignty, your absolute power and control over your own life, your own emotions, and your own destiny. You become a man with true depth and clear direction, a man who is in the best possible way untouchable by the emotional chaos of others. How do you feel about the full script? Are there any parts you'd like to adjust or refine?